Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome to your weekly general tarot scope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these readings are for all of us, the general energies, trends and themes of the week ahead. Remember, these are always infused with my personal intuitive message. So every week I'll go into my intuition and I will ask what it is that we need to see, what is it that we need to know, and it gives me an overarching energy or message. Sometimes this is a mini movie in my head, sometimes it's a thought or a feeling, sometimes it's just a string of words, right? But I condense all of this into like a literal message from the images or whatever comes up, and I use that as kind of a way in or a way pointer for this reading. And then we explore the destiny cards, which comes from the Human Design Oracle deck, and then we look at direction cards. How do we use that destiny energy or tap into it? And the insight cards, if we could see around corners, what would we be looking at? What would we be seeing, right? If you are new to Radiant Reality, thank you so much for being here. It really does mean a lot that you've decided to stop by. If you are new to my channel, if you are a continued subby to my channel, you know Rafi loves you, and that's why you're here, right? Because you know, my community, my wonderful YouTube people, you mean the world to me. This is why I do it, right? This is, without you guys, I literally would not be here. What would I be doing? Right? Literally nothing. Can you imagine? I'd be one of those really unhappy people that's really awfully unfulfilled in their jobs and very sad. All of this fabulousness in an office, darling? Come on. What would happen? All right. Anyway, been there. I enjoyed it. It was all right for a while. So, with that said, Delulu moment over. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help us all on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So our intuitive message this week was that a reflection is a distortion, right? And what I saw in was just all of these shadows, which there's nothing wrong with shadows. Shadows can actually be really beautiful or very entertaining, right? Depending on, you know, like if you can make a cat and a dog and all of that kind of stuff with shadows, they can be very entertaining. They can be very wonderful. Shadow work can be beautiful, but the shadows that I saw were like, they were really weird and like all distorted, kind of like, do you ever remember the film Ghost? Like at the end, like those kinds of shadows. And I was a little bit sort of taken aback because I was like, okay, so whatever we're seeing this week, and this seems to be a running theme for this month. It's so weird, right? This seems to be kind of going on. There's been a lot of, you know, kind of gnarly messages coming through this week. And look at that. This month. We've got the Gate 57 and Intuition. This is the key to the week, right? Now, what's really interesting is that this card speaks to your intuition speaking, but you not trusting it or doubting it. This is one of those times where I think one day I might make a video about this, but I'm going to cut a very long story short as possible and say in 2018, I went through a very hard experience in my professional life. This was before I took Radiant Reality full time. Radiant Reality was already up and running at the time, but this is before, and it's kind of what led to me going full time and saying, you know what, fuck this, I'm going in, right? And I had this experience, and everyone around me, right, were kind of, and I was to the point where I was like, no, my intuition, in the end, I got to the point where I was like, my intuition has brought me this far. It's never lied to me. It's kept me safe. I just have to trust it, right? And everyone, my best friend, my partner at the time, they were so supportive. Let me just add, right? They were so supportive. I remember both of them saying, I really love you. I know you've been through a lot, and maybe this is that time where your intuition is kind of off base. And I took that and I was like, you know what? These are people that love me. These are people that care for me. This is a possibility that I'm wrong. I didn't stop believing at the base of my intuition though. And when it all came out, I was right. And it was both the kind of relief, you know, like when a weight has been lifted off your shoulders. I actually nearly pissed myself. I kid you not, right? Like, this isn't a funny. That is me being deadly serious. The amount of stress and cortisol and, you know, the amount of things that happened to me in that moment, I very nearly wet myself in my office. That's how bad it was, right? There were legitimate reasons to doubt. This card speaks to that kind of doubt, but you have to trust it, right? You might not know exactly what, you might not have all of the details, but your intuition is to be trusted. Now, how do you discern whether it's your intuition or whether it's your trauma speaking? Okay. If it's your trauma and it's your heritage and it's your past and it's all of those things, it will have you do the thing that makes you comfortable to switch it off. If it's your intuition, it will force you to follow a path that feels uncomfortable and almost like, I'm crazy, right? I'm going against the grain. I have to be. All I know is that I'm going the right way. So this week, when you see the distortions and when you see the shadows and all the rest of it, it's not you, it's everybody. And that guiding light that you call your intuition that is telling you which way to go is to be trusted, all right, implicitly. For the direction cards, how do we best tap into this? You've got the Page of Pentacles, trust in your purpose. Trust in your purpose regardless, even if you don't know what that purpose is. You know that you're here for a reason. That much you do know. Follow that. You've got the King of Swords. Trust your intelligence, right? Trust your powers of reasoning. At that time, I was very sad. I was out of a very destructive relationship, you know, just a year and a half-ish prior. And was in a new relationship now, right? And this was one of the reasons. I could hear this from my partner. I could hear it from my friend. This might be a time where I'm getting it wrong because there's so much going on with me personally. Use your intelligence. This is one of the things, like if you've been with me long enough, you know I always say this. We love the woo-woo, right? I'm all about the woo-woo. I've built my entire bloody business on it. I love the woo-woo, but we keep our feet on the ground, right? There were times where I had to use my logic and reason, the King of Swords, to say, okay, what they're saying to me is actually real stuff, right? Sometimes you have to take your logic and you have to put that intuition through that guise, right? What are the facts here? How do they stack up? Where are the crossovers? Where are there no crossovers? What is left outside of this? And Spock in the Star Trek film, he clarifies it so simply, and I'm paraphrasing now, but he says science basically teaches us that once you've gone through all the probable causes, right, and you've done all of the investigation, whatever is the final answer, no matter how improbable that answer seems to be, it has to be the right one, right? Trust your purpose. Use your intelligence to scrutinize the information that your intuition is giving you. I'm not telling you to berate yourself. I'm not telling you to bash your own ideas or to silence your intuition. No, I'm telling you to use your intuition, use your intelligence to really filter that intuition to see where it matches up. And then you've got the Page of Wands, right? 2 pages represents disquiet. And if the answer that you finally get from your intuition happens to be one that you feel is going to upset the apple cart, remember what I said to you about your intuition to start with. If it's your ego, your trauma, or your past talking, it will have you do something that makes you comfortable so it goes away. If it's your intuition, it will lead you to do something that potentially upsets the apple cart in some way. 2 pages represent disquiet. With the King of Swords, this is potentially you going up against or with somebody who is in a position of authority or power. It's potentially a hard conversation with a boss. It's quite possibly you challenging some sort of authority or institution. And it's you making waves. And I got to say to you, if you are a wave maker, I salute you and I back you 100%. All right. There are times, once it's all verified information and you've got it, you've got to make some waves. All right. Whatever that means to you. on the wider world stage, I wouldn't be surprised if this is some sort of student protest, some sort of parent protest around schooling, education. This seems to be a running theme at the moment. There's a lot going on in that sector, and there will be, right? This is Jupiter moving through the sign of Gemini, right? Which literally represents like children. It represents your younger years school, all of those kinds of things. Jupiter is both Jupiter and Gemini are education in some regard as well. Big stuff this week, really big stuff, very, very interesting. Sorry, I know this is a very long video, but I feel like these messages are very relevant to some people. And this is a question that I get asked a lot by students, by clients, by friends, by family. How do you know when it's your intuition versus your trauma, your ego, your history, your whatever the case might be, your programming, your conditioning? If you haven't seen it, or if you haven't checked it out, it's cheap as chips. I have an intuition activation webinar. You can get that. It's on my, if you have a look at my the description box of this video, you'll be able to check it out. It's like £33.33. Super cheap and cheerful, and I wanted that because I want people to have access to this, because it will help you understand your intuition that much more. All right, for your insight cards, you've got the Six of Swords, moving away from the rough times, which is great, with the Temperance card, okay, and the Knight of Cups. Some of the developments that come up sort of on the wider world stage will be in the medical profession, especially around transport when it comes to medical things. So this could be how to, things like ambulance journeys, when they airlift people out. There's probably going to be one of those quite prominent ones in the media, and it will have something to do with someone being airlifted off or out of the water. Another way that this will also potentially show up is this could be somebody that needs some real support or help after being stranded on or within the water in some regard as well. There is going to be developments around the healthcare situation across the board, actually. I feel like this might be, it's not across the board, international / continental. All right, there's going to be some interesting conversations around healthcare, around where we are going with certain things, potentially around mental health, and particularly around nervous system, things. Okay, on the personal level, the Six of Swords with the Temperance card, that's some form of personal healing that's taking place that has been a long time coming. And with the Knight of Cups, this is being able to take what has taught you to heal, or to take the tools that you have utilized to heal yourself on some form of a journey and give them to somebody else, right? I'm sure you've all read the meme that says, don't be afraid to share your story, because your story of survival might be somebody else. Your story of success might be somebody else's survival manual. And I always love that. And I hope that some of the experiences that I've shared of my journey here have helped you understand whether it's your intuition or whether it's your past or your trauma or your history, etc., speaking to you, right? Finding a way to turn that into gold for somebody else, I think, is going to be a big part of this week. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week, and let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.